Well, this is the new officials class information session, and I want to welcome all the new officials to the 2026 Eastern Connecticut Football Organization initial new officials class. We will be teaching this class every Tuesday and Thursday through the first week of August at the Montvale Firehouse. This particular meeting here is a virtual one that you can watch at your leisure, where we're going to go over what this organization is all about. And I will hopefully answer any questions you might have. But you will see contact information from me during the presentation, and I will also make sure to give you that information at the end. Please do share this class with others, as we want to get as many people interested in football officiating as we can. Oh, let me make sure that I can be. Just going to turn up my microphone volume. Yep, it's all the way up. Okay, so anyway, I will try to stand closer to the screen because I'm realizing that I may not have been heard before. But again, I want to welcome everybody to the new officials class. Again, this is going to be asynchronous, as it's just me here at the Montville Firehouse. All right. First and foremost, the reason that you are watching this video is because you love football, because you're interested in officiating. It could be because you're thinking about giving it a try because you watched maybe the Super Bowl and you saw the officials and thought, boy, they look like they're having a good time. They're making some money. Um, and it's true that it is a very entertaining thing to do, but most importantly, from our point of view, we really do need more officials. We will be putting new officials in varsity games pretty much right away, as our numbers have diminished drastically since the COVID pandemic. And we have a mostly an over 50s to over 60s officials group right now in terms of age. And that means that for younger officials, or even officials in their 50s and 60s who would like to try it for the first time, there is plenty of room for you. Now, I understand that there's a lot of demands on all of our time, but if you update your schedule, you give us the time that you're available, we will put you on the field. Now, our organization is not an employer. We are a registered state organization that is charged with assigning football officials to high school and youth football games. We are actually underneath a larger body called the Connecticut Football Officials Association. They're going to have their annual meeting in August, and I will discuss that in more detail. But we're also sanctioned by the Connecticut Interscholastic Athletic Association, the CIAC, which governs all of football activities from players, coaching, and of course, us as the officials. Now, our purpose is training and assigning. So primarily, we're going to educate you. That's my role. I'm the new officials coordinator. Myself and Dan Duncan have taken this very serious, job on for the past 8 years. We've trained over 40 new officials that have become officials that no longer are all with our organization. Some have moved on through military service. They've been transferred to other areas. Some have moved on to college. But most of the officials that we have trained have found that this is a very worthwhile thing to do. And we do our very best to make sure that you're ready for the very challenging thing of calling a football game. Now, the schools that we do cover are the eastern one-third of the state. That pretty much means Windham and New London County. If you are familiar with the high schools here, great, but understand that it pretty much extends to the north to Woodstock Academy, E.O. Smith, all the way down to Waterford in New London and When Old Saybrook has a team, we'll cover Old Saybrook, and everything in between. Basically, you think of the Connecticut River, if it's east of the Connecticut River, that includes Bacon Academy. We do cover that high school. We also cover some private schools, particularly Pomfret Prep, which has run a version of football that only has eight players on the field, but also St. Thomas More, that is a high level program that always demands seven officials and they play by college rules. We cover them with our high school officials. And for youth football, we cover many programs. It's growing all the time, but we essentially cover Norwich, New London youth football. We cover Westerly youth football, so in Rhode Island, but we cover Killingly, we cover Putnam, and Griswold and a number of other programs in between, Plainfield, Montville, and we've covered those programs for many years. Now, like I said, we work for the organizations that we assign for. That means that the ECFO is providing a service to the schools, but we do not employ the officials. That means that you, the official, when you go to work a game at the school, you're an independent contractor, and our job is to provide you with the training and coverage that you need. We do provide some insurance, but we don't pay officials. It's your job to have health insurance, to get your annual physical, to make sure you're ready to play, to officiate because we are athletes on the field. Now, I imagine you have your own expectations. You may have been to a high school game. Maybe you've served on a chain crew. Maybe you have a family member or friend who's already a football official and you've already been regaled with their stories of their experiences on the field. We do have expectations in return. Our expectations are that first and foremost, you join our organization in good standing, and every official in our organization pays the annual dues. New officials will not be charged anything extra for this training. In fact, simply by paying your dues and a $10 fee for the criminal background check that you have to do with every organization if you want to be a sports official, you are covered for both the class and the annual membership dues for being a part of this organization. If you get the minimum uniform, go to the training, carry out your assignment duties by making sure your schedule is up to date, making sure you accept games in a timely fashion, that's basically all we expect. We don't expect you to be a 10th year experienced official right from the get-go. We know that you're going to grow, but we also want to make sure that you're doing the things you need to do to get better. And that means attending the before meeting 6 p.m. Tuesday meetings, mentor meetings twice a month in September and October, that give you those 4 extra hours of one-on-one time with some veteran officials before the 7 o'clock regular meetings. In addition, all officials have to give the assigner a 7% fee of their game fees, and that's because the assigner is not paid by the schools. We vote for the assigner. We choose the person who gives us our games, and in return, we give that assigner something for his trouble because it's a lot of work to make sure that whenever games are canceled, rescheduled, officials cancel their appearance, they find out they had to work, they're not available, they have to move people around. It's a lot of work to be an assigner, hundreds of extra hours per season. So we give them a portion of our check at the end of the season in return for their service. When you are approved for full membership in the annual business meeting in November, at that time you'll be expected to pay the following year's dues. And of course, by then you will have collected a good number of game fees. So you should plan ahead for the business meeting expenditures. Now, we don't expect, again, like I said, for you to be able to grasp the entire difficult rule set of football officiating in the high school level in 1 year. But we do expect you to put in the time and energy that you need to do to be successful. Now, just again, as a summary, these are the financial obligations, and you can see here that $75 is due just to get your materials for this class. That will be due by the end of the week that you start the class. You'll need to pay the remainder by the end of the class when you take the test. That covers your dues and the background check fee. But in addition, another financial obligation is you're going to need to get equipment. And I have my gear bag here. So I can share with you that in addition to any number of materials that you're going to need to get, you're going to need a black hat. You're going to need uh, you're going to need to get a pair of officiating pants. You should have some kind of a bag to hold all of your accessories. That includes flags, bags, whistle, and very importantly, you're going to need a pair of cleats. And I have my cleats here. And these shoes are athletic shoes, and they have a surface on the bottom that is adaptable to grass or turf. Increasingly, more and more fields are artificial turf. So I don't recommend getting those grass 1 inch deep cleats. But some officials do have cleats like that they get for football officiating, basically for those muddy youth fields at some of the locations. Now, so the financial obligations are heavy to get started. When you combine the 225 or so odd dollars with 90 or so just for the shoes, and then the rest of the uniform, $225 total there, as well as the dues, you're out close to $400. Beyond that, um, you have some time requirements as well. Obviously, we have the classroom or field sessions. Once we have our class established, I will book some time on a football field. So we will also have some field session on the field where you'll get to go through mechanics. Both classes, whether you're taking this virtually or taking this as an in-person official this July, need to attend the state clinic, which is going to be in the New Haven area, August the 8th. And the dates for the I'm sorry, twice monthly meetings, which actually start at the last week of August and then run through September, October, and then one meeting in November. That's a total of 6 meetings that you have to attend. Again, the middle four, the ones in September and October, you new officials need to attend an hour earlier than everybody else. You need to attend at 6 o'clock, and that goes for everybody who's 3 years and newer in officiating. Now, our class consists of 6 classroom sessions. That includes this information session. So following this information session, you will have 5 classes, and that is not enough for you to learn all the rules. I don't even bother trying to get through the whole rule book. Instead, I spend all of my time in class showing you what you need to do on the field. I focus on the rules that are most important to new officials, but understand that rule study is going to be up to you. And of course, I'm also the rules interpreter for our organization, so I will be a resource to help you get through the rules, but to aid you and assist you, once you've joined the class, I will provide you with a illustrated guide to the rules, which makes it a lot easier to follow for new officials, but also I've rewritten in a study guide packet form all the rules that are very most important for new officials to learn. You will take time to learn these rules over the course of multiple seasons. Most officials, by the end of their first season, have started to grasp the rules, but mastery takes about 3 seasons. So I really want to focus on putting you in the best position to see the game and to see more and more plays so that you will be in the right place to understand when you read the rule book. Now, we do have a few other things besides the classes. There's a rule review picnic. The picnic is going to be in Washington Park, Groton. The date is to be decided. We'll have two or more practical sessions on the field. Our assigner is the athletic director at Montvale High School, so we should get Montvale High School, which is a turf field that's totally lined. Even if they're not playing football, we can at least see that. And NFA, because we have a contact in Norwich. Um, we will let the class know once we know where those sessions will be and when. I mentioned the state clinic, and then there will be an on-field assignment that you will hear more about in the near future. That is going to be the Youth Football Jamboree, which all the officials will be there and veteran officials will be shadowing you. And it's a great opportunity to blow your whistle for the first time, maybe throw a flag for the first time, and get to actually see plays for the first time. And the first scrimmages I know of are August the 16th, which is a Sunday at Ledyard. Our first meeting as a group that's mandatory is the annual rules interpretations meeting and mechanics meeting, which I'm one of the presenters. That'll be August the 25th, beginning at 7 p.m. on Montvale High School. And you'll know all about that because this class will be over and done with by then. Now, this is the first opportunity to get my contact information. If you look at the screen, you can see my email address, my phone number. That is the best way to reach me, either that email address or text me at that phone number or call me. I am a high school teacher, which means up until the 25th, I'm going to be available pretty much all the time, all day long. So just reach out if you have any questions during the school year. Call me, leave a message, send me an email, text me anytime you've got questions. Ken Danowitz is our assigner. He is the one that we vote for. He's one of the people that we depend upon very much for getting our games out to us. Kevin Moreland is the better officiating chairman, which means he's responsible to make sure that the right officials are assigned to the biggest games. And he also trains us at the highest levels on mechanics, especially for the varsity officials. And finally, my position, secondarily, to be a new member officiating coordinator, I'm also the high school football rules interpreter for our board. Again, we are one of six in the state. So I am one of six rules interpreters in the state. This is basically reiterating all of the information. I'll just leave it up here for a second. Again, the key here is if you look that not all games are on Friday nights. There are high school games on Mondays. There are high school games on Wednesdays. There are high school games on Thursdays. Those are the junior varsity and freshman games. Increasingly, more and more games are during the day on Saturdays, but that does conflict often with the Saturday youth schedule. So you'll be quite busy if you keep your Saturdays and Sundays open. But also you will find a few games, especially starting at that 3:30, 4 o'clock p.m. on weekdays, that will be available to you as a new official. When you do attend a meeting during the season, be there on time. And that means get there before the 6 o'clock starting time. You do need to sign in at 7 o'clock at every meeting. There will be a sign-in sheet. You will be paying a fine if you're absent from a meeting. You must let our secretary, David Roberts, know as soon as possible. If you can't find David Roberts, you let me know and I'll let him know. The meetings are usually pretty full since they are mandatory, but we have a total of 50 or so odd officials. You should find plenty of room to sit close, to be able to ask questions of the people sitting next to you, but just be respectful. But understand that asking questions is how we all learn. If you ask a question, generally other people around you probably had the same question. Don't be bashful. And you should bring a notebook. And I think you should write down things that you gather both at meetings and at your games after your game is over. Write things down, keep a journal, bring it to our mentor meetings. You've got those 4 opportunities during the season to get your questions answered with other new officials around. But of course, you can always forward questions to me anytime you've got questions about the game. Um, if you can't make a meeting, you got to notify people. You just got to. And again, all the regular meetings are at Montville High School. Now, what is the career path like? It's very different than in 2012 when I started. When I started in 2012, there were over 100 officials on our organization, and it was typically 5 years on average for a new official to get into a varsity game. That is not the case anymore, but you can guarantee that in year one, you're going to be starting with the youth game because the youth season starts earlier than the high school season. So we're all on the youth field early. You're going to work a lot of wing positions. Um, we start getting into JV and freshman games and a few varsity games more likely in your second year. You're very likely to be working positions that will not be the white hat referee position or the umpire, but pretty much either of the two wing positions or a deep official are very likely for younger, newer officials. Um, by the time you're in your third year, you're going to probably be done working any varsity timing assignments. And when I say timing assignments, on Friday nights, there are five officials at least on the field, but every school pays one extra official to work the clock, and you get a varsity game fee for clock service, which is 75 or $80. So that is something all new officials do. You get to see the game from a great vantage point. And if there are seven officials, it'll be your first opportunity to look at seven football official mechanics. You'll have a radio, you'll get to hear the chatter, and it's a great opportunity to also participate in the pregame. By the time you're in your third year, as long as you've done your things that you need to do to get better, you're not going to be working any more varsity timing assignments because you're going to be working on field assignments. Um, Year four and beyond, you should be working a lot of varsity assignments on Fridays, but of course, you keep your schedules open. They'll also give you a lot of youth and junior varsity games too. Now, beyond the high school level, we have junior colleges like Nassau County in the area. We've got Suffolk County. We've got Monroe. There's a number of community colleges that play junior college football in, especially in southwestern Connecticut and eastern New York. And we've had a number of officials move from our organization to that level. We've also had officials in our organization move up to Division III, Division II, possibly even FCS. We've had a number of officials in our group who've worked Colonial Ivy Patriot League, and we've even had a few that have worked in the ACC. So there is a possible path for you to move up quite high in the world of officiating, but it all really depends on opportunity, being in the right place, but being ready for that opportunity when it comes along. So that's why we study and that's why we work hard. Now, the assignment chairman, as I mentioned earlier, is Ken Danowitz. Ken Danowitz is not able to handle all the assigning duties, so he delegates the junior varsity games to Bob Woods, and he delegates the youth games to Scott Banks. Those three together handle the officiating assignments. Scott Banks is going to want to put all of the new officials that I get in my class onto the youth fields to be basically supervised, shadowed, and assisted by veteran officials. He'll make sure that you're not there alone. So it's very important that you guys get through this training so you're ready to go for Scott. I mentioned earlier the Arbiter site. Arbiter is an essential tool that we all use in the state of Connecticut. This is where the schedule appears. This is where you need to put in your availability. Now, the schedule page will look something like this. Again, this is a screenshot from an earlier time, but it hasn't changed too much. What you can see on the schedule is it's got dates and times. It's got a status on the right where you have accepted or declined it. You can see that I have already accepted all of these assignments. I can tell you that the mobile app is very effective as well. It has had trouble in the past, but I've heard it's pretty reliable now. Email, if you make sure your email is correct, your phone number is listed in the profile, make sure that everything's visible to everybody else so that you can be in contact. But most importantly, you have to keep your calendar up to date. Now, the focus points for a better officiating committee is mechanics positioning, penalty recognition. We love to look at holding. We love to look at offside, which is not even a rule in high school, but I'll say that for you new people because you probably know that better than the high school rule, which is encroachment. um, and being able to judge ineligible man downfield and all the other things that we need to get better at that are difficult plays to call. That is this organization with Kevin Moreland in charge. But he's also there to help make sure we know who is the best at each position and make sure that we look our best on the field. Now, mechanics is the proper application of the rules. It isn't the rules. Knowing the rules is only a small proportion of what it is to be a great official. So that's why I don't spend a lot of time on rules. I spend more time on mechanics. So in my class, you're going to hear mechanics, and I'm going to teach you the mechanics that you need to know to be a really good football official. That means positioning, signaling, and communications. Now, the Better Officiating Committee continues to work on this with the veteran officials, but I'm starting you off with new officials right on the get-go so you get on the right path from the start. I don't want you to be on the field the first time and not know where to stand on a kickoff or where to go when the run comes towards the sideline. I want to make sure you're ready. Now, the Better Officiating Committee is the one that gets all the film from coaches. Now, I get film from coaches as the interpreter when there's a rule misapplication or when the coaches think we've misapplied a rule. Everything else goes to Kevin Moreland when officials just don't look their best, when they're in the wrong place. And I will tell you, you are always being watched. Somebody is video recording your performance, whether it's on a youth field, a JV field, or a varsity field. You are being watched. Assume that you are going to be on video somewhere. Assume that that video will come back to us. Make sure that you're always doing your best. Seeing somebody making a mistake on video can be instructive for all of us. We're not here to embarrass you, but understand that if you go to a youth game and say, well, who cares? I'm not going to really try my best. Understand that the youth expects us to give our best to them, just like varsity officials, varsity coaches want us to give our best to their games. Now, ratings are something that we're working on as far as developing a system that will work for everybody. We tried a couple different systems along the way. Currently, we spend more time rating our new officials. Our veteran officials tend to be rated more informally, and we're working on a better way to do it. But essentially, even though a subvarsity game and a youth game is not rated officially, we are going to all be asked at the annual business meeting what our experience was like working with new officials because your first year is a probationary year. So it's very important that you do your best, that you're coachable, and that you improve all as much as you can during the season. And if you do all those things, then you're going to be voted as an official member in November. Now, rankings are not just used for probationary officials, but they're also used to determine postseason assignments. In Connecticut, the playoffs are 3 rounds. There are 8 teams in each division, and there are 6 state championships, and there are 6 boards. So what that means is that each board gets a state championship game. Each board gets 1 or 2 semifinal games, and each board gets a few quarterfinal games. And if you want to be working one of those games, you need to be high up in the ranking system at your position. And that is determined by the Better Officiating Committee. As far as uniforms and accessories, there are a number of different places where you can buy them. Our preferred retailer is Purchase Officials right here, which you can Google search and find them. Once I've identified the officials that are in my class, I will post a list in an email, which I will send to you that will have all the equipment that you need to buy. Local sporting goods stores can sell you a whistle. They might even have flags, but generally you're going to need to go to officiating specific stores to get the uniforms because our uniforms are very specific. We're not going out there in Foot Locker shirts. We have to have the 2¼ inch shirts that are required, and you need them by the middle of August, which is right around the corner. The minimum outfit you need to start with is a black hat, black t-shirt, and a long and short sleeve shirt. You need black game shorts, and I do have those to share. Um, these bags. Yes, right here. So let me stop sharing for a moment so I can show this bigger. Okay. So what you're not going to do is buy this hat. That is not the right hat. You're going to buy, like I said, this hat. The back should not have any opening. It should be fitted. You'll need a belt. It should be a belt with a plain buckle. And the officiating shorts have belt loops. As you can see, sometimes they're called golf shorts, but if you look carefully, you'll see here that they are just plain black. There is no white stripe, and they should go down to about the top of the knee. They are not short shorts. They're not basketball shorts with the elastic band. Understand that they are actually golf shorts with the real pants. Okay, the striped shirt and the pants. Pants here you can see have the white stripe. They have the belt loops. As you can see here, this particular brand is my favorite brand that you can get here with the adjustable waistband. And that's what I prefer, but that's going to be under a belt, so nobody will see that. But you don't have to buy it from there. That particular company is, let me go back up a second. Let's see, that is not on this list. I can't see the label. It'll come to me. I just can't remember the brand. We need the striped shirt that is 2¼ inches. It should have a logo on it for Eastern Connecticut football officials. And I recommend strongly, this is not required, but I recommend strongly some compression shorts and a compression shirt to go underneath. And of course, you need those bits of equipment. And I strongly suggest that you have some kind of a bag to put all your equipment in, and you leave it in your backpack. I'm sorry, leave it in your car at all times. Now, I got a pocket here with a pouch. I bought this from Target. It was like a 3-pack, and I've got a number of different pieces in here. I've got a game wallet that lets me keep track of all of the scoring. I've got multiple flags. You can see here it's got the black ball. I prefer this kind of whistle. Goes around the neck. They also sell finger whistles. Those are fine. These are called down indicators. We wear them on our wrists, put it over our fingers to keep track of first, second, third down. And you're also going to need, to have bean bags. And well, I've only got the black kind here. These are for college games, but you need the white kind for the high school game. Some of the other accessories include a handheld radio, but like I said, the minimum that was on the slide earlier, I would say you need to focus on those things first. All right, so once again, I'll share that slide again just so I can discuss now that I've showed you some of them. So again, black hat, black t-shirt, long and short sleeve shirt, shorts, pants, and then the black socks, the belt. I mean, I always wear my referee belt. I wear it around my pants to go to work every day. because I've forgotten my belt at home before, and it's never happened. You never go without a belt if you just wear it all the time. The chain clip, pencil, game card, some kind of bag, luggage to carry your equipment, and like I mentioned, compression shorts and other things can help a lot when you wear them under your uniform. This is a nice graphical illustration of what to get and what not to get. The shirts that you can see here that don't have the collar are basketball shirts. You want to make sure that you get the one with the black collar. You want to make sure that you get a whistle that has a lanyard. You're not keeping it in your mouth at all times like a basketball official. So you want to make sure that it either clips to your finger and stays out of your mouth until you need to blow it, or it's hanging from a lanyard and again stays out of your mouth unless you intend to blow it. Unlike in basketball, when a foul happens, the play continues. Now, grooming, it's pretty simple, neat, trimmed. You don't need to be clean shaven. My shave is perfectly fine right now. I could officiate like this. Now, as we get to the higher levels, we like to be clean shaven, but we no longer require you to be clean shaven to be a high school football official. When you arrive to varsity games, even as a timer, you should not arrive in your stripes. You should arrive in business casual attire at least. Many officials will wear a jacket to the varsity games. Make sure that you look in a way that shows that you care about being there, you take it seriously, and then you change in the locker room. Now, for junior varsity games and youth games, they're not going to give you a locker room, so you arrive with your referee pants already on or your referee shorts already on. You can put your shirt on when you get to the field. Now, the rules are determined by the National Federation of High School Officials, or high schools, NFHS, and we will again give you a illustrated rule book, which if you look on the video screen, it's right here. It's fairly thick. It's much bigger in size than the pamphlet that is the official rules book that the rest of us get. And that official rules book is very small print, which I think you can see here. It's an encyclopedia basically. Whereas the simplified rule book here has many diagrams and illustrations to help you understand it. I still have mine from 2012. I fully expect you guys to continue to refer back to this throughout your career because it's very useful. Rules do change every year, so we will get an updated rule book every year. We also have an online app that gives us the rules that you can use for reference. The NCAA does have some variants, and I need to update this slide. The rule interpreter is actually me, Mike Billica. Calvin Albanese is our former rule interpreter. Need to change that slide. Now, why do we need someone like me to be there? Because sometimes the rule book is not clear. I attend a lot of meetings where we discuss the purpose of all the rules, the spirit of all the rules, so that you can understand that why we have these rules in place, and that helps us to officiate the game. And that's what I'm there for. Now, the three rule books to get before the meeting are the official rule book, the case book. It says prices up there. I think that's out of date. I think they're more than that now. But as a member of our organization, once you're officially logged in and they add you to the roster, you should get that pushed out to you, at least the official rule book. The case book is very valuable. I buy it at least every other year, but you should buy it. I buy it every year, but I think you should buy it at least every other year because it has play situations that go along with the rule book. The simplified rule book, which I provided to you, I will provide to you not just electronically, but in physical version, and the official rule book that I have written out, the simplified one that I've written out. I can email it to you, but I can also hand you a printout of that because I have printouts of that. The high school rule book is broken down into 10 sections, which are called Rule 1, Rule 2, Rule 3, all the way up to Rule 10. But each of them is subdivided into many different sections. And in Rule 1, for example, you've got all the field dimensions. In Rule 10, you've got the penalty enforcement. At the end of the book, there's a list of football fundamentals. There are points of emphasis at the beginning. So the rule book is more than just 10 rules. It's grown and grown over the past 150 years that our game has had official rule books, and it takes constant study. The case book goes in the same order and has play situations that go with the rules, and they really are extensions of the rule book. There's a lot of other information out there online, but remember that web advice, like from other organizations that do high school football, can be very useful, help you get to the answer that you need if you can't find it from one of us, but they're not always the same set of rules that other states use that we use here. Um, Texas plays by NCAA rules, so you have to be careful. Even in their high school game, their rules are different than ours. Ohio has a number of special mechanics that we don't use here in Connecticut. So keep in mind that what you find online, you should take with a grain of salt. But there are some excellent resources. Referee.com has a magazine. They also have additional supplementary insurance. I highly recommend it. And then NFHS.com, NFHS.org is the official organization that actually produces the rules. So they should be pretty reliable. Now, there are 5 officials in a varsity game. That is the referee, the umpire, the headline judge, the line judge, and the back judge. In a 7-man game, which is increasingly common on Friday nights, is the side judge and the field judge added to those other 5. The rule book has those 10 sections. The case book, as I said, the mechanics book is yet another book, and we don't have a physical version of that book provided to us anymore, but I will direct you to the Western Connecticut officials that publishes a version of their book electronically on their website. And this is where I'm going to spend the bulk of my time teaching you to be ready for the youth league, to be ready for junior varsity, and hopefully to extend that on to the varsity field. So what is the next thing for you? For you, you should be prepared to put in your application and your background check permission form. You should be prepared to pay your clinic fee, and you should be prepared to work on getting ready for the season. If you haven't got your annual physical yet, get it. If you don't have a plan for getting fit, come up with one. This is an athletic avocation, but stay tuned, stay in touch, be present, be mindful, take advantage of every opportunity, and ask questions. All right, well, that's it for my initial new member association of Eastern Connecticut officials presentation. I thank you wholeheartedly for the ECFO, for all of us here at the Montville Firehouse that so graciously is sponsoring our class here on Route 163 in Montville. And for myself, Mike Billica, I want to thank you again for your time, for watching this video all the way through. Again, you can reach me at mbillica@gmail.com, 860-821-0822, and I will be happy to add you to our list. And I will see you guys hopefully on Thursday, on July the 23rd, when we have our first official class. Thank you very much for your time and your attention. Good night.